Has SyFy quietly been creating an amazing Superman show that will not actually feature the Man of Steel? Well, judging by their new Brainiac pictures and the trailer we got yesterday, I'm gonna go with yes. In this video, I want to break down why I'm so pumped about this depiction of Brainiac and what we can expect from the coming SyFy show Krypton. Let's talk about it. What is up, YouTube? It's Josh. This is the Den of Nerds. If you love superhero things, subscribe to this channel. We do all sorts of coverage about all the comic book characters. Oh, and real quick, I want to shout out Nathan Cromier, who got the nerd card question correct in my latest Star Wars Rebels video. You definitely know your stuff when it comes to Star Wars, so shout out to you, Nathan. There'll be another nerd card question at the end of this video. All right, guys, we've got to talk about this depiction of Brainiac that the SyFy show Krypton gave us just yesterday. They dropped a trailer in which David Goyer and Jeff Johns talk about Brainiac and what he's going to be doing in the show. I want to go into this focusing on the Brainiac character because I think there's a couple different things to take away here. And first of all, I love the look of Brainiac because he looks so much like the comic book counterpart, especially the ones that we've gotten in the past 5 or 6 years in comic books, and it just looks so totally dope. And I don't understand why we have such an issue with Hollywood when they take comic book characters and they try to change them too much to kind of make them more movie-like. I really don't get it. I mean, you can look at the classic example of Apocalypse in X-Men Apocalypse, and I mean, they just took that, they just messed with it, and they couldn't just do a depiction of what the comic book was like in the movies. I almost feel like Hollywood has this thing, especially if you're like a costume designer or if you're an artist or somebody working on the production, that you have to sort of put your stamp on it. You want the movie version to differentiate itself from the comic book version. Now, I don't know if that's just ego or if that's just sort of the way that it goes in Hollywood, but I think that it usually doesn't work. And, you know, also remember that the hair of Wolverine, the fact that Hugh Jackman even had that hair, that was Kevin Feige when he was an assistant getting on set on the X-Men film and being like, no, this doesn't look like Wolverine. Here's what you've got to do to make this look more like the Logan character. And when you've got great source material, I just don't understand why you don't use it. So in this example, it looks like the whole crew and the creative team behind Krypton really just wanted to make a Brainiac that all the comic book fans could just stand up and clap for. And that's what's going on here. Also, I love the sound. He sounds a lot like the Brainiac that we got in the Injustice game. And a lot of people have pointed out that he similarly looks that way too from what was going on in that video game. And I absolutely love it. I'm wondering in my head how much of this has to do with Jeff Johns, because Jeff is really cognizant of using things that a lot of people are aware of as story elements or just pieces in the stories that he is telling. So like if you read his Rebirth, he uses some tropes and some story mechanics that were already established in the Flash show. What is interesting about that is the Flash show is massively popular, and so for him to use things like being trapped in the Speed Force that was already established to a massive audience, I think it's just kind of a master stroke. So I think the reason that they're using Brainiac and the version of Brainiac that they are, that's so similar to the comics and Injustice, is because that Injustice 2 game was huge, sold a ton of copies, people were very aware of it. So you already play with this established theme of who Brainiac is. Brainiac has also played a large role in some things that went on in DC Comics in the past couple of years, including the Convergence event. I just really like that. I think it's on point, and I'm pumped that Jeff Johns is involved with this show. It has a very gritty look to it too, so I'm excited about the David Goyer-esque thing going on to it. Now, we know that the DC Extended Universe is actually stepping away from the David Goyer, Zack Snyder vision for the DCEU, but, you know, I still actually like that. I've never had a problem with the tone in the DC films, or the color palettes for that matter. I actually like them a lot. I think there's completely separate issues going on with the DC films over at Warner Brothers, but the tone has never been something I've had a problem with. So I'm actually excited to see it be a little darker. And they said that they took a lot from the first part of the Man of Steel movie where they're on Krypton. Now, I don't know if this will officially tie into the Man of Steel movies in the DCEU, and I guess we'll have to wait and see what's going on with the DC films and also what's going on with this show. Right now, Krypton has a 10-episode run, and it's possible it will be renewed for a second season, and I'm not sure if they'll have to figure out a way to get to the Man of Steel time period or what they will do if they get renewed for a second season. Now, quickly, I want to talk to you about what the show is basically going to be about. If you haven't been paying attention to any of the promotion, you might be like, wow, this looks really dope, but I have no idea what's happening. So essentially what's going on in this story is that Brainiac is traveling back in time to try to prevent Superman from either being born or being sent to Earth, because Superman becomes the greatest hero in the universe, the greatest foe of Brainiac, and he continuously whoops his big green butt. And so basic premise here, Brainiac goes back in time and tries to Terminator style kill the House of El before they're able to basically send Superman to Earth. There's this character Adam Strange who appears to be from the United States. He's got a Detroit hat on, he's got a pair of Chuck Taylors on, and he has somehow managed to either arrive on Krypton or communicate with the Kryptonians to warn the grandfather of Superman about what is happening. So I'm actually really excited about this. This seems really cool. We broke down the trailer for this thing, I want to say over a year ago. So it's really interesting to me that this whole time this production's been working, it looks and just feels very different than what you get on the CW shows, which I'm totally okay with. Like, I want something a little bit different. I'm a huge Superman fan, so I'm excited to see what they do with the mythos. But that's pretty much it, guys. Wanted to break down the look of Brainiac, talk to you guys about this awesome Krypton show, and sort of give my thoughts to catch you up on what the show will be about. It comes out on March 21st. It will be dropping every Wednesday. If the show becomes popular and you guys want me to cover it, I could do like some articles or some videos about it. But for now, just gonna cover the big news about it when it drops. All right, let's check that nerd card really quickly. Now, Brainiac has had many different versions. He constantly updates himself, but there is a version of him that is actually a good guy and is a part of the Legion of Superheroes way in the future. What is the version of Brainiac that is a good guy and hangs out with the Legion? Answer that question in the comment section below. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and nerdy day, and I will see you in the next video.